If TF2 had developers, how much better would it run? There is a 2017 copy of TF2, edited by Mastercoms, the maker of MasterConfig. They've been fixing bugs and optimizing the performance. They named it Team Comtress. If it's based off 2017 TF2, I should be able to benchmark the difference between the two by playing the same demo I recorded back in 2017. There are a few visual differences I found while playing the demo. Skins weren't showing in Team Comtress 2, and I couldn't get skins to show even on a single player map. Some paints and festives were showing on Team Comtress 2, but weren't showing on regular TF2. Demoman's Unusuals were rendered in Team Comtress 2, but not regular TF2. The red light from this burning soldier wasn't showing on Team Comtress 2, only regular TF2. And this pyro looks roughly the same. If we pause here to take a look at the explosion particles, they do look a bit reduced on Team Comtress, but you wouldn't notice while playing. I think we've established that Team Comtress is rendering more stuff. Pretty much anywhere you pause this, Team Comtress is running better while looking very similar, if not better. If we pause it in a meaningful scenario like this firefight, the FPS difference is massive. I was surprised to see the CPU usage was roughly the same in this instance, but the GPU was used 9% more. That doesn't really explain the big difference in FPS. If we pause here, there is a great increase in CPU usage with Team Comtress using 50% more of my 6-core CPU than default TF2, as well as 7% more of the graphics card. TF2 was built back when graphics cards weren't as strong and useful, so the game doesn't run better if you have an RTX 3090 versus a GTX 960. Most of the rendering work gets put on the CPU, which is why I run a 5.1 GHz overclock when I play TF2, and it's still not fast enough. I have tested a GTX 960 versus a 1070 when I upgraded on a TF2 benchmark, and there was no difference. You still need a graphics card to pass the frames across to your monitor and do stuff like anti-aliasing, which is why integrated graphics computers will still benefit from lowering the resolution. They even managed to fix the in-game frame rate cap to have consistent frame times, it seems. On the default game, depending on what CPU you have, it can be very inaccurate. On newer CPUs, it has issues with the calculation. And here's the results. Team Comtress fixes should boost the FPS by 31% if they were added to the game. This is a very big performance boost that should apply to most CPUs with quad cores or more. There probably isn't going to be any Team Comtress servers for you to join, but at least you can load up TR Walkway and feel how smooth it is and shoot some bots. Oh, and also this is unrelated to Team Comtress, but I wanted to know which graphics exactly are the most taxing on the minimum frame rates. So in the description there will be a link to my benchmarking Google Doc where you can see which graphics reduce the FPS by what amount. So far it's been pretty lame. Most graphics modules only reduce the FPS by around 2 to 5 FPS, but they do add up. They add up to a total of 40% FPS loss, using high settings instead of low, with the major contributor of that loss being shadows. Turning shadows off boosts the FPS by 14%, so using the high preset then turning shadows off with the module is a great way to get roughly 26% more FPS than default with minimal difference in graphics.